Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where for over 4 years we've been asking the entrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson, and if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Mark Van Wy, COO of Zoom Room. And Zoom Room is the only brick-and-mortar dog training franchise in America, and that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Who's helping build America one small business at a time? Franchise Inc., a free consulting service.
For years, Franchise Inc., a national company, has been helping people franchise their business concept and help folks like you own a franchise.
With over 2,500 franchise systems out there, it can be awfully confusing. Don't take chances with your future. At Franchise Inc., we've done the homework for you. We can help match your interests and background with the franchise that's right for you. And we only work with proven franchise systems with a solid reputation and track record of success.
The consultants at Franchise Inc. can help you with your short and long-term wealth strategy.
Give us a call today and we'll send you free our best-selling book, Solving the Puzzle of Owning a Franchise.
Remember, it's not just owning a franchise, but finding the right one for you. Call us at 800-961-0420 for a quick consultation to discuss what's important to you, your business, and your future.
The service is free. The book is free. What do you have to lose? Find the business that's right for you.
Call Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420. That's Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the entrepreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And today's show is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only magazine that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees, and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
I'm doing great this week, Marty. How about yourself?
Good, good. Another hot one out there today, I think. So I suspect it's pretty hot there as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. August, dog days of August, hot weather.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pool day today or a Jersey Shore day today, you know. So
definitely.
But absolutely. Our last show, Don, we had an interesting show last week. We met with Tony Pedullo, and he was the Vice President of Franchise Sales and Development for AAMCO. And if you missed the show, AAMCO is the world's largest chain of transmission specialists and one of the leaders in total car care services. The AAMCO brand has approximately 900 automotive centers throughout the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. They have a long history, too. They were established back in 1962 by the legendary Anthony Martino. I thought it was a great show. I think it was long overdue to have AAMCO on the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think in 3 years it'll be their 50-year anniversary. And Tony's got a big background in franchising. I think he mentioned he was at Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin-Robbins for a long time, I think over 20 years. And
it was.
Yeah, AAMCO's just very well known, a leader in their industry.
Yeah.
And you know, I've seen them. I'm here in New Jersey. They're all right, over. It's a good franchise.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you have to remember too, Don, is when, for our listeners, when you're buying a franchise, a lot of times that's just what you're getting is that powerful brand name, and I think most people in the U.S. probably recognize the name AAMCO, These guys really have franchising down too, don't they? I mean, they've been doing it a while. I was unaware that it seems like they planned on franchising from the start. If you look back at their history,
right.
Franchising was going to be like their method of distribution or the way that they were going to grow the business, And from everything that I've ever read about Anthony Martino, I've been told that he's really like a legend in franchising. He'd be one of those guys that was in like a Hall of Fame of franchising, like a Fred DeLuca type or a Ray Kroc, So
right.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really great to have them on. A strong training program too, didn't they? I think it was like I think Tony mentioned it was like 5 weeks or something like that.
Right.
I'll have to go back and listen to it, But and people are keeping their cars longer today too, Don. I didn't realize the number Tony gave. I should have the information in front of me, but I thought it was like over 10 years that people keep their cars today. It's a pretty long time, and of course that's due to, I'm sure, the recession and things like that, people holding on to their cars longer. But
yeah, I'm surprised at that number. That does seem like a long time, but maybe that's the case. I mean, we're in one of the worst recessions ever, and they're probably making cars, maybe a little better these days. Maybe they're lasting longer.
Right. It's true, yeah. It's coincidental. I had one of my friends I went to high school with. I spoke to him this week. His transmission just went on Monday, so it happens, And you really need somebody that you can trust when it comes to transmissions. You know what I mean? For just someone, like a local mechanic to just say, yeah, we need to replace your transmission. I want to be more reassured, and use a service like AAMCO. So most definitely. So it was great to have them on. Love to have them back next time with perhaps like a franchisee. And they did a great job. So
yeah, it was a good show.
Having them. Yeah, so I know you had an interesting, there's actually a couple of articles this week that we want to try to get to.
Yeah, well, we all know the story on Subway. This is something through QSR Magazine, Marty. Subway Unscripted. Subway president Fred DeLuca started his sandwich chain 45 years ago, now opens new restaurants at the pace of one every 8 hours. What does he know that you don't know? This article written by Peter Romeo. When 17-year-old Fred DeLuca decided he'd try to earn his college tuition by launching a sandwich shop, he and partner Peter Buck set a goal of opening 32 outlets in 10 years. He says, we fell a little short, DeLuca recalls 45 years later. I think we had 24 open by 1975. It might have been the last time his brainchild, now known as Subway, would miss an expansion target. Last year, at a time when the restaurant industry appeared to be contracting, its chain grew by over 1,100 units in the U.S. alone. That's roughly an opening every 8 hours. It's incredible, isn't it? And during these tough times, they're opening Subways all over the place.
Yeah, they're just fantastic. It's I hate to say that they're, I don't say I have a favorite franchise, but definitely a fan of their products, I mean, and they are incredible. I mean, they really got the whole franchising thing down. I mean, it's pretty simple when you go into a Subway, Don. I don't know if you go there, but, I probably go there maybe once a week, and it's just amazing. I mean, it's a pretty simplistic concept when you look at Subway, And I tell you, they make killer subs. I mean, it's just those.
There is one just in the next town over, a couple of minutes, and I guess when they went to that promotion of $5.
Yeah, the $5 special. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the footlong, I think it was for those like the whole meal. You know, and I think
right.
that I'm pretty sure they were the ones to start that promotion.
Right.
Yeah, it's just it's an amazing story. I didn't realize, by the way, that they were opening that many. You know, it's just unbelievable.
It says the brand has grown by at least 1,000 stores each year since 1987. DeLuca doesn't see that pace slowing. Indeed, he says it's getting easier. He sees capacity for another 5,000 to 7,000 U.S. outlets based on current sales to penetration levels and expectations for new traffic generators.
Wow.
Still, predicting when Subway might hit the walls become a sport of sorts among quick-service watchers. After a while, you run out of real estate, says David Hanks, vice president of a research firm, Technomic. Even DeLuca seems to foresee a day when the saturation point might be reached. Through another company, Franchise Brands, he and Buck are supporting 2 franchise upstarts, Mama DeLuca's Pizza and
really?
Bajo Mexican Grill. Guess he's starting up a couple new concepts, yeah.
I wonder what he saw in those concepts. I mean, he must see something, obviously, you know, to realize that there's potential with those 2 new concepts, Don, you know.
Right.
Being in franchising so long. So that's amazing. I would love to have perhaps getting those guys on the phone, on the show, you know, perhaps even getting Fred for the 200th show, you know, or our 4-year anniversary.
Right. Yeah, that should be a goal of ours. So, you know, this article is I was just surprised by the numbers. You know, still in a rough year, that much growth, and the fact that they can still add another 5 to 7 units around the country. Just really incredible. Here's something Fox Business News, Marty. What to consider before starting a small business by Emily Driscoll. Starting a small business is an exciting adventure, but look before you leap. Starting a small business, the decision to become your own boss should not be taken lightly. And they mentioned 6 steps to take into an account and plan for before taking that leap into entrepreneur land. First one, make a flexible business plan. You know, you've done many of those. I've put them together, being a long-time business owner. Map your business out on paper. The experts suggested making it easier to visualize your plan of action. You definitely need a written business plan so you know where you're going and how you're going to get there, says Mary Reed, owner of a public relations company. You also need to be flexible, knowing as time goes on, some of your expectations may change. The reality of your situation may change, and you're going to have to adapt.
Right. Yeah, that flexibility is so important. I think a lot of times, Don, people, when they write a business plan, I because they put it down on paper, for some reason they don't want to be flexible on the plan, you know. And you know, so I'm glad that the article actually mentions that. I think that's so important. Absolutely.
Analyze your potential market. Knowing your market from the start will lead to strong revenue streams in the future, the experts say. What's the size of the market of what I have to offer? Is the market growing? What's the demand for my product or service? Who are the competitors? How successful have they been, and are they growing or shrinking? It's really an understanding of the market and the value that your customers or intended customers are placing on the product that you're offering. So after business plan, it's analyze your market.
Right, and this is where, I mean, guys like you come in, you know what I mean, which is, you know, packaging, you know, business plans and things like that. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, people, I've heard, you know, the stories of typically they'll go into a bank, you know, and they don't really have I guess you could say a kick-ass business plan, you know what I mean? Sometimes they say that it's in their head, or, you know, they can't answer all the questions, you know, and if you can't answer all of those questions that you just mentioned, in addition to probably like another 40 or 50 that you and I can both give our listeners, then you're not ready yet. You know, you have to be able to, you know, answer them quickly, just like that. You know, you've thought everything through. This business plan, I mean, it takes a long time to write, doesn't it? I mean, you really have to put a lot of work into it. It's not something you could write in a couple hours. I mean, it's, you know, we did it for this radio show. You know, we've done it for past business ventures, and it's a lot of work. It's exhausting. Sometimes I dread it. You know, somebody asks me to help them write a business plan, it's I won't say I dread it, but it's so much work.
Right.
You know, so
Good point.
It's a commitment. You know, absolutely.
Next part, Marty, calculate your cash flow needs. Cash flow is one of the most important elements of a startup, and bad planning at the start can be your downfall, experts say. Cash flow tells you a lot about the health of a business. You always need a lot more money and access to capital than what you anticipated. Always overestimate. Make sure you have enough sources so that you can cash into to achieve the full amount. You need to have a backup plan in terms of where you will get money should you encounter financial difficulties. Many companies grow rapidly at the beginning and then end up going under later in life due to poor planning and management of cash flow. So another important segment of
and you've heard the term, and I think you used it on the show, Don. You know, is cash is king, isn't it? You know, I mean, there's certain businesses you get into. There's a lot of receivables, you know, or the receivables are high. Tony Connie was telling me a story of I don't know, one of the shows that she watches. I guess the husband, he owns all these buildings or something like that, and I guess people stopped paying their rent, and then his business ended up filing bankruptcy. And you know, cash is king. I mean, there are certain businesses where, you know, there's cash. You know, your Subways, I don't think too many people pay by credit card, do they? Or, you know, McDonald's. I mean, these are things sometimes that you have to think about. But yeah, in business, the rule still applies. I think is cash is king. You know, so it's a good point.
Next part is know your target audience and their needs. Knowing your target consumer base is critical for marketing. Who are you going to go after? How are you going to appeal to them? What websites or magazines are you going to advertise on? What kind of public relations campaign are you going to conduct? If you don't understand what your customer needs and don't identify the target correctly, you're going to end up wasting precious time and sales dollars trying to convince people that they need your product or service. When you're selling your product or service to either a business or consumer, you have to understand what the business customers need. That's what they're trying to satisfy. And how this all ties in, I mean, this is what's nice about a franchise system. You know, I mean, sort of, you know, the business plan has already been worked out. They'll already have a marketing and advertising plan for you. They should be discussing cash flow needs and how you're going to finance the franchise and what your reserve is, and obviously who your target customer and client is. And that's what's nice about a franchise business is, you know, this is a good franchise has been doing it for years and knows who their customer is. And when business evolves and changes, and all franchises are going to have to change and evolve and maybe go after new type targets and client base, that's what's nice to have that ongoing support from a franchise system.
Yeah, so true. I mean, the numbers have been pretty much worked out, you know, in most cases when you're buying a franchise. I mean, in other words, you can tell, you know, what the gross profit percentage is, the net profit percentage. I mean, most of those have been worked out when you're buying a franchise. In other words, you know, when you're starting your own business from scratch, there's a lot of guessing involved, you know, and you don't exactly know. There's probably a lot of miscellaneous expenses in there, too, that you're just totally unaware of, you know, and that's why a lot of businesses that go the non-franchise route just simply don't make it. You know, I mean, I think the numbers are still, last time I checked, I think over a 10-year period, 80% failure rate. You know, I mean, that's high. You know, a lot of times it's attributed to a poor business plan, you know, or as you were saying earlier, you know, you simply run out of cash, you know, and you can't pay your bills any longer. So, and even when you are getting a franchise, Don, I mean, I think it's okay, you know, and we've mentioned this on the show before, to still have your own business plan. Yes, everything has been worked out, but I still think that you need to put things down on paper, don't you? Or I don't know if you agree with that. Just kind of,
definitely. You've got to have goals.
Yeah, I mean, you have to set those goals. I mean, each area of the country, of course, is different, you know, location and things like that, and all of those things. Now, a lot of times the franchise, and that's one of the things, I don't know if the article gets to it or mentions it, but the whole location factor. You know, there are certain businesses where location is going to be critical. You know, if it's a Subway, Ampco, you know, I mean, those locations are, of course, pretty important. The franchise in many cases, I don't think they'll actually tell you where to put the franchise because I don't think they want to be held liable. God forbid the location doesn't work out.
Right.
You know, but I think they have formulas, of course, you know, guiding you as far as, you know, what might be a good location, or they might come look at it for you and, you know, give you their thoughts and things like that. So it's
right.
also something else that goes in that business plan. But yeah, when you buy a franchise, I mean, a lot of that homework has been done for you, and so that certainly helps a lot.
Next, Marty, it says, know what you want from employees. Before you decide to enter into a partnership or hire employees, identify the type of people you want working with you. If you have one wrong person, they don't share your vision or understand what you're trying to accomplish, it can ruin the whole organization. You need to consider what type of people you work best with, especially in the case of a partnership. If you're taking on a partner, it's kind of like getting married. Like you and I had to be very careful before I decided to go into partnership with you.
There you go. Well, you and I have been both in situations, you know, being in business before, you know that it's tough, you know, finding the right business partner. And yeah, you do have to do your homework. Fortunately, you and I knew each other a long time before we, you know, worked together. But yeah, it's not easy. And it is. I would, you know, go almost as far as comparing it to a marriage. You spend sometimes more time with that person than with your own wife, you know. So,
right.
Something to take into consideration, absolutely.
In the last part of this article, expert advice, taxes and legal liabilities. Depending on the business, startup entrepreneurs may want to look to professionals for advice on issues such as taxes and potential legal liabilities. The expert suggests forming a team of legal and financial advisors to protect your company and your personal assets. You want to make sure you have a respectable CPA, someone you trust, someone who is going to do the right thing. The right CPA is critical as having the right, as critical as having the right employees. If they give you the wrong advice, you could be in trouble. So, you know, just a good solid article about someone getting into business who really has to analyze all these different segments. And, you know, it all kind of goes into your business plan. But we've always been big proponents of having the right professional help in starting your business.
Don't go at it alone. You know, I think there's a lot of, you know, sometimes especially, you know, entrepreneurs are such unique people, aren't they? You know, and again, there's all types of entrepreneurs, but sometimes they're just so independent that they just want to do everything on their own, you know, and that's not a good thing. You know, it's one of the things I learned from the show, you know, is no man is an island. You know, I mean, talk to attorneys, you know, and if you're buying a franchise, talk to a franchise attorney. You know, if you're going into business, you know, have an accountant, you know, kind of guide you and look at your cash flow statements and things like that, and kind of put it in English so you can understand it, you know, and be able to explain it to somebody or say, does this make sense to you? And the whole market research aspect of things, you know, it's just, it really is worth the time. I think a lot of people say, I don't have time to write a business plan, but you know what, you don't want to get into a business that, you know, you're going to struggle, you know, for 3 to 5 years, and at the end of that 5-year road, after working 70, 80 hours a week, have to, you know, shut down. And you think about all the time you put into it then, you know, so people don't think that way sometimes, you know, so it's, I'm glad you know, read this article today, Don, because I think it's important. Sometimes I think we get away from the basics, you know, of what the show is all about, you know, so yeah, I mean, I think it's a great article, so good job. So why don't we do this, Don? Why don't we take a quick break? I see Mark has called into the studio, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up in segment 2, they're the only brick-and-mortar dog training franchise in America. We're going to be meeting with Mark Van Wy, COO of the Zoom Room Franchise Opportunity, coming up on Franchise Interviews.
Big now! Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way. that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic, where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG.
Big Mouth!
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the Franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we have a great show today because we're meeting with Mark Van Wise, COO of the Zoom Room franchise opportunity. And Zoom Room is the only brick-and-mortar dog training franchise in America with an innovative array of classes and activities that teach owners how to teach the dog everything. Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Great, Mark. Mark, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson, and I know, Don, you wanted to say good morning to Mark.
Hey, Mark, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. We're excited to hear all about Zoom Room. I really like the name. Who thought of that?
Thanks, Don. My wife, who is our CEO and founder, Jamie Van Wise, the name is all hers, inspired by the Zoomies, the sort of unbridled energy that so many young dogs and puppies get when they just have so much energy and nothing to do with it. So the Zoom Room really channels it into some structured classes and play and activities to really get the most out of exercising your dog.
Yeah, good.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Mark, I would like to ask your guest where you're calling from this morning.
From Los Angeles.
Okay, great. How's the weather there today?
It's a little cloudy and overcast, but since we're an indoor facility, we love bad weather. We love snow, sleet, muggy days, hot summer days. Any of this serves us wonderfully.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look, what were you doing before starting Zoom Room? I know you have an interesting background.
Yeah, my background is in branding and marketing. I had worked as a consultant for launch and brand strategy for a lot of clients such as Disney and Microsoft, Boys and Girls Club of America, and Nintendo. And, right after that, I was actually brought on to the estate of Nat King Cole as the director of development there, looking just at coming up with new projects and new ways to rebrand that icon. But, when I heard what my wife was doing and she gave me the pitch for the Zoom Room she'd been developing, it was a really easy decision and not the worst interview process to switch over and make this my new full-time gig.
So tell us a little bit about the history, when Zoom Room started and where you got to this point today, Mark.
Sure, happy to. So again, this is really Jamie's brainchild. She's the National Dog Daycare Chair and Boarding Chair of the Pet Care Services Association and has really been the leading consultant for helping individuals and some partnerships start their own dog businesses around the country for over the last dozen years. And she had run her own dog businesses, including a very profitable and well-known upscale pet hotel kennel out in Los Angeles called Rover. And after working with so many people who wanted to enter the dog business and take advantage of all of those crazy numbers in that sector, she saw a lot of disappointment from people who had in their head this idea that they just wanted to play with dogs all day and make money. But the reality of running one of those 24/7 facilities is nothing like the expectation. And so a lot of people really were having frustrations at the idea of having to have 20 employees that are never going to take care of the dogs the way you want to, and having to deal with sort of just the general mayhem that goes on when you have so many dogs and not enough staffing. And at the same time, she had so many clients asking where they could do agility. And even here in the metropolis of Los Angeles, you have to truck way out of town and take a class on Thursday morning at 10 a.m., and there was nothing really to substantiate that kind of demand inside the town. So that's really where she began to develop the Zoom Room as a concept that could be run by a single passionate proprietor and that would have multiple revenue streams and be able to be zoned as retail right in the middle of town, right on Main Street, to really capitalize on dog lovers that are passionate about their dogs and really want to celebrate that social aspect of dog ownership.
Right.
So yeah, the dogs have really become part of the family today too. I mean, haven't they, Mark? It's just it seems like a cultural change in the United States. Over the last maybe 25, 30 years. But it does really seem like for a lot of people, I find that they're part of the family, just as much as a child is. You know what I mean? So it really is this big cultural change, I think, here in the United States.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And for some people, obviously, the dog in the family replaces a child, and for some, it's something that is part of the family, as you said. So we have kids coming in doing classes, and, it's very, very kid-friendly. We'll be doing actually a summer camp next summer we'll be launching, and you're absolutely right. And in different economic times, that sort of plays out differently. There's a sort of a period more in the 90s when it was all about coddling that member of your family and buying, little cute sweaters for your dog. And we see less and less of that now. But what there's no shortage of is the desire to just stuff with your dog, to be out actually having activities, having fun, really just doing something outside of the home with your dog, having him or her go out and really have a great time, meet other dogs, meet other people. And other than a dog park, which is fraught with problems and not available on, evenings or inclement weather, there's really not a lot of places to do that until the Zoom Room came along.
And when you're describing Zoom Room to a potential investor, what are you feel the top selling points? What are the first couple of things you start talking about right away to really get someone interesting? Obviously, they have to be a dog lover, but what else is going to be great about them being a Zoom Room owner, Mark?
We have so many different revenue streams, each of which on its own has strong differentiating factors. So, for example, not only do we provide the only brick-and-mortar dog training franchise, but we have curriculum that includes classes not offered anywhere else. So immediately there's a distinguishing factor there, as well as with the agility focus, which is the #1 dog sport in the U.S. Then we also offer the ability to do meetup groups and canine events. You know, in almost any city you will find breed groups and charitable organizations, rescue organizations that would love to have fundraisers or just parties. And where else can you go, let alone an individual who wants to throw their dog a one-year birthday party? You don't really have a lot of choices of a facility that you could go to that is dedicated to throwing canine events. We even have doggy disco nights with doggy disco balls and laser light shows on the floor for the dogs to chase around. And again, and even in our retail section can expand based on sort of the local demands of where our Zoom Room franchise is located, sourcing some local products and local ingredients. But we include our own brands of products as well as things that can't be found anywhere else. And every single product we carry has a story behind it, has something about it, even something that's not unique to us. Like we may sell a harness that you could also get at a big box pet retailer. Those pet retailers tend to have a return rate on that harness because people buy them, return them, and say they don't fit. We sell them for about the same price, but our expert people that run the Zoom Rooms will actually fit it on your dog, show you how it works. We've never seen one returned. So we make sure that every single thing we do perfectly, and that these revenue streams combine to give you an ability to mold it to your lifestyle and to the demands of your community.
Great.
We're speaking with Mark Van Wy of the Zoom Room franchise opportunity. And how has technology played a role in your business, Mark?
Oh, good question. You know, we're a very, very forward-thinking company. We use iPads in all of our businesses as sign-in kiosks. We have a completely web-driven sign-in and enrollment system. We're the only dog training business that has anything remotely like this. You can actually go on in the middle of the night and book a private session for your dog. You can book a party. You can check your upcoming schedule. You can cancel if you need to. You can look at the classes. Everything you need is right there and very convenient. And we just launched one in Austin, Texas. That is an incredibly forward-thinking town. You know, people don't even like to give out their phone numbers, just email addresses. And it's just incredibly convenient that you can get online and do that. And for our franchisees running the business, it means they have a single software solution with fantastic support from us that lets them do all of their point of sale, inventory management, client management, tracking, enrollments, everything all in one single place. So it makes it extraordinarily efficient for the franchisees.
That's great. And this industry is obviously very big. I mean, are there any hard numbers, Mark, as far as how big your industry is?
The pet sector in general?
Yes.
The pet sector in general is in the over $50 billion. It's the 7th largest sector in the U.S. right now. And the pet retail has even gone up last year. I think it was 6.1% in 2009 when so many other retail sectors were going down.
It's amazing that they're going up. You know, it is interesting when you see that, isn't it, Don? You know, like certain industries, you know, just going up. It's a pretty big growth too. You know, I mean, we obviously, you know, we've seen with the recession, Mark, you know, the impact that it's had on certain businesses. But God, when you see it goes up, it's really amazing. You know, when you think about it. So
it's true. It is not across the board. I will say though, in the pet industry, you have to sort of somewhat drill down into it to see. For example, you know, when the economy's bad, travel's bad, which means both business and personal. So in fact, boarding kennels have had a very hard time in this economy, as have the sort of you know, nose-up pet boutiques selling mink dog beds. They're not doing great. They're closing down all around L.A. But for us, we provide sort of a family-friendly, local thing. You're not traveling, so you're in town with your family and your dog. It's not an expensive luxury. Come, you know, hang out in our sort of indoor dog park area. Come take a class. And so we actually have had our numbers go up all throughout 2009.
I've been Mark in franchise industry over 10 years, and I do franchise financing and have worked with a lot of different pet franchises, and they all do pretty well. I mean, I've never heard of any that are having problems or going under, and, you know, lenders look favorably at pet franchises. So I think you're in a pretty good industry. And like Marty mentioned before, I mean, people just love their pets. They're willing to spend money in good or bad times. You know, it's part of the family.
Absolutely. And for us?
I'm sorry?
No, I was just going to say, the spending the money is the one thing. What we're really concerned about is that when they spend their money and leave, they feel they've gotten a tremendous value and want to come back, because For us, it's all client retention. We're not, selling products online or just going to people's houses and keeping a dog from peeing and never need to see them again. We want to see them again and again and again for their dog's birthdays and other classes. So we want them to feel just fantastic value in their spending.
Seems like to be a lot of nice word of mouth with your type of business. People care so much about their pets. If they're happy with your service, I mean, that probably saves you some advertising dollars, just people talking, getting new clients.
Oh, I mean, who comes in, they've got, everyone has the cameras, the cell phones, so all of our clients are shooting video of their dogs on the agility course or taking pictures of their dog in a Halloween costume contest or at one of the parties, and they put it to their Facebook profile and they put it on YouTube. So I'll check YouTube every now and then and do a search and be amazed at how many of our clients have uploaded videos. And it's, as you said, it's absolutely wonderful that the word of mouth spreads through the social media because, they love taking pictures. And understandably, I do that with my own dog when we're at the Zoom room.
What's been the most interesting?
I saw a bunch of them on YouTube. This morning, Mark. I was just, I had some time before the show, and I said it's just amazing. There's a lot of them up there, of just your client uploading the video. So it really.
We love that. Amazing. We love it.
Oh, it really is. It's incredible. Mark, we have to take a quick break. Are you able to stick around for another segment?
I'd be happy to.
Oh, that's fantastic. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919. Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're meeting with Mark Van Wy, COO of the Zoom Room franchise opportunity. And Zoom Room is the only brick-and-mortar dog training franchise in America. And Don, I think you're up.
Yeah, Mark, moving forward, what type of franchisees you think you want to bring into the system? What type of characteristics you want them to have? I'm sure you put a lot of thought into that.
Sure. Well, Don, I wish I could answer you with 3 words, must love dogs, but unfortunately, you'd have a great soundbite, but we would not have a good franchise system if that were the answer. That goes without saying, and I would love to say you have to have a good heart and be passionate about animals and love dogs. Well, of course, you would not be calling us. Why would you call the Zoom Room to open one if you didn't feel those things? Unfortunately, that's not enough. We look for much more, and right now our acceptance rate is at about 1 out of every 8 people who qualify financially and qualify in location. There's so much else that we're looking for. Besides being strategically positioned in terms of, major metro areas for our, initial rollout, we're looking at people who have a business background, who are analytical, who know how to write a business plan. Maybe you have all the money right now. Maybe you don't need to borrow any capital to start. However, we'd love to still see that you know how to write a business plan, that you know how to ask the hard questions. Will your sector support it? What are your competitors in your community? Do you understand, how pricing works? We want to see that you have an attention to detail, that if you walk past a mirror in your center and there's a streak on it, it's hardwired in your nature to stop and clean that you don't sweep things under the carpet, that you absolutely notice every little detail, and that in addition to that, you're an absolutely astounding communicator. Because yes, it's a dog business, but our big secret I will share with you is it's really a people business. It's all customer service. We are really training the people, not the dogs, and they are the people that come back and bring of course the dogs are going to have a great time, but we want our customers to have a really wonderful time. And so customer service, charisma, communication skills, detail-oriented, analytical, rational, that's really what makes people who make the cut and that we're so thrilled to be in partnership with.
Right. And talk to us a little bit about training process for new franchisees.
Sure. Once somebody signs on with us, they immediately get access to our online classroom, and that is proprietary, something we've developed. Not a lot of people realize that there isn't some one certification for being a dog trainer. There's not some aegis that you have to be under to do that. In fact, Jamie studied every possible teaching and training program out there. There's nothing that passed muster with her. So she developed her own curriculum, and it is about an 8 to 12-week curriculum that you take online that is like a grad school course. It's everything in dog behavior, and there are videos and slideshows and essays you have to fill out, outside reading. And while you're going through and learning all of this, you are also putting it in context by doing some required volunteer work at local shelters. That helps really contextualize a lot of what you're learning and reading and watching about. When you complete that, you come out to Los Angeles to our headquarters, and you do 3 weeks of hands-on daily training out here to really focus on the dog handling and the other aspects of running the business.
Okay, good.
What's a typical
That's 3 months total.
Right.
So you said a typical day?
Yeah, what's a typical day like for I guess you could say like the franchisees, Mark, if you're looking at like a 7-day week, are there certain days that are more busier than others? Are there certain times of the day that are more busier than others?
It'll absolutely vary in location, but weekends are always, certainly a time when everyone is out with their dog. Evenings and weekends are when you've been at work all day, you know that you've left your dog at home, you'd love to get out. Well, now it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, can't go to the dog park. Walking around the block's a little old. So we get a lot of people coming in for classes in the evening and ditto on the weekends. But we do have a lot of offerings throughout the day, and we stay open for retail sales and for what we call open gym, which is kind of like an indoor dog park during the day. So depending on your location and what day of the week it is, your day could begin by starting off and brewing some fresh coffee, which is a unique blend that's made for us, that's direct trade. And because we offer free coffee in our Hound Lounge area to our clients and free Wi-Fi, we created an environment where people can really hang out. We have a children's area for people who come in with kids where there's blackboard chalk for them to draw on the walls, and they really get a kick out of that. We even have a reading program for children that have struggling difficulties with reading using therapy dogs that go through our therapy dog program. So getting the facility in beautiful shape so that it's ready for kids, ready for dogs, that certainly is a great way to start the day. After that, probably catching up on your email, maybe contributing to your own blog or your own Facebook page, which each franchisee has, returning calls that may have come in, and then you may have some private training sessions people have booked with you. You can actually sit at home and do a lot of this from home if you're not yet open for retail sales, because if someone does book you for private training in the morning, you'll get an email letting you know, so you can go ahead and drive and open the place up just to meet with them if you're not going to normally be open at that time for sales. And then you'll have classes and maybe some events. Maybe you'll have a birthday party, so getting the place ready for that.
That's great. How much space does one require, Mark? I mean, for your franchisees, and is there an ideal location that you guys look for?
Yeah, great question. 2,000 to 3,000 square feet is all that's needed. I'd say 2,500 is really ideal. Anything above 2,500 square feet really is just giving you extra room for more retail inventory, depending on to what extent you'll make that part of your model. So it's really not very much needed. Typical agility tournament centers are 10,000, 20,000 square feet, but we're able to use equipment that's proprietary, that's modular, and create an environment that's, a lot like a gym or a yoga studio where people can come in with their dogs. Because there's no element of boarding or grooming, we actually are zoned for retail. So ideal locations are right in the heart of town, accessible to where people are already out with their dogs, with good, easy parking. If you're in a driving city, in Manhattan, that's less important. And you want great visibility. I mean, there's really no better advertisement than a plate glass window where people walking and driving by see a bunch of dogs jumping through hoops. That's really all it takes to get people in the door.
The majority of our listeners are aspiring, we call them franchipreneurs, Mark. They're thinking about buying a franchise, and they have so many choices today. What advice would you give to them as far as where to begin?
I think that, the distinction that many of the websites make between home-based and brick and mortar is a very important one. So I think right there, you should know that about yourself right away. You should talk to your banker, I think, before you do anything. Figure out, like if you were buying a house, what will you pre-qualify for? What are your finances? Don't fall in love with something and find that there's no way you'll ever be able to get into it. Same thing with the house. I just think that you need to know what's realistic, what's practical, and then you can really let your passion somewhat dictate what sectors you're drawn toward. And as you begin to move in, I would really start to try to get to speak to the principals of the company as well as to existing franchisees. I'm sort of amazed that some franchises have deals where their franchisees have gag orders, and when someone calls in, not to ask about numbers, but just questions as you've asked, like, what's your day like? Do you like it? They'll say, we're not allowed to answer. Like, we love our franchisees to blab to anyone who calls them. We're really proud, and so I would look for that type of transparency, and I would say always ask this question: what's next? What do you have planned next? Because you're giving money to that franchisor, and you need to get and expect a lot in return. And part of it is the model, is the trademark, but some of that money, for example, with us, goes to profound R&D, to having something exciting always around the corner, something that an individual sole proprietor, not in a franchise system, would never be able to allocate that level of cash to rolling out new products and services all the time. So ask them what's next. And I think that's a great way to get a handle on whether they're just sitting by and passively enjoying income from a model that works, or if they're always looking for a way to make it better and to keep with the times.
Yeah, it's great advice. It's a great question, and it's on it. It's probably something we should ask Mark is what is next for you guys? I mean, what are your plans?
I set myself up for that.
You did. Nice segue.
Well, we have a number of new locations that are going to be opening, so that's not really, that's new and exciting, but not new. Right. For us, the newest thing that we'll be rolling out is the therapy dog reading program I mentioned, and a whole new series of product lines. We have 12 complete separate product lines that we'll be rolling out this fall, that are products that we have designed from the bottom up and that are completely differentiating, things that aren't available elsewhere, such as organic snacks and treats that have a difference to them. I can't say too much right now until we do the launch, but we've got some really, really great product lines in bedding and in food and treats that we're very excited to offer, as well as some new classes. We have a new class called Canine Cross Training we'll be debuting later this year that actually really puts a lot of focus on the training that the human handler, that the owner of the dog does. So while your dog's doing all the agility, you're going to be doing some plyometrics and wind sprints. And we even there was recently a study showing the health benefits for humans while their dogs are doing dog agility, running around the course. And so it's actually now substantiated in the scientific literature. We're really going to take advantage of that and create even more of a gym-like environment.
Excellent.
Fantastic. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee, Mark? Are there any websites they can go to or any numbers that they can call?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best place is to go to our website, which is zoomroomonline.com. If they go to zoomroomonline.com, at the top they'll see a little button that says franchise information. And we have an entire online franchise info center with a form they can fill out to have us contact you. Or you can call 877-ZOOM-ROOM.
That's fantastic. And I want to thank you again, Mark. You've been a fantastic guest, and Don and I would both love to have you guys back in the near future. You got a great franchise.
Oh, it would be our pleasure.
Best of luck, Mark. Thank you. Great job.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Great concept, huh, Don?
Yeah, and Mark obviously is very enthusiastic, very passionate about their franchise and about pets, dogs. It's great. It's great to hear.
It sure is, yeah. It's a big market, too, It's well, we're talking about dogs, so absolutely. So good job on segment 1, Don. And for our listeners, thanks for listening. And go to franchiseinterviews.com, franchisefunding.net, gofranchise.com. And we have another great show next week, don't we, Don?
We'll keep rolling them out for everybody.
Thanks. And have a great day, Don. And thanks, everyone, for listening again.
Take care.